Willkommen. Wir haben vor kurzem den Lesern von goldinvest.de die kanadische Centurion Minerals vorgestellt. Ein kleines Unternehmen, das sich vor einiger Zeit auf ein neues, vielversprechendes Projekt konzentriert hat, auf dem man Calciumsulfat oder einfach gesagt Gips produzieren will, und zwar in naher Zukunft. Die Aktie konnte in Kanada schon gut zulegen, von 5 auf aktuell 8,5 kanadische Cent. Unserer Ansicht nach sollte das aber erst der Anfang sein, denn noch hat Centurion gar nicht richtig losgelegt. Jetzt hat man allerdings zuletzt ausreichend Kapital über eine Finanzierung einsammeln können. Das heißt, nun sollte man bereit sein, die ehrgeizigen Pläne in die Tat umzusetzen. Wir sprechen heute mit David Tafes, CEO von Centurion, und der wird uns mal ein paar mehr Details dazu geben. Welcome, David.
Thank you, Bjorn. Thank you for having me.
David, as I said in my introduction, Centurion used to explore for gold, now is focused on a project for agricultural gypsum in Argentina. Please tell us a bit about how you came to focus on that project and what agricultural gypsum is and what its uses are.
Yes, thank you, Bjorn. We still have some precious metals projects in Southeast Asia. They're early stage exploration, and they were very difficult to finance over the last 4 or 5 years with a very difficult mining market. So we came to the conclusion that we wanted to find a mining project that was low cost, it was simple, and could be sustainable. And we've been able to transact an agreement with a private Argentinian company called Demetra Minerals in Argentina on an agricultural gypsum project. Now, the agricultural gypsum is a very high-grade gypsum. The chemical components are sulfur and calcium. Gypsum is a fairly common product, lower grade anyway, that's found around the world. It's typically used in wallboard for houses and commercial buildings, and in a cement or as a cement component. This is very high grade. It does not have the some of the minerals that may be found in the that could be contaminants that would be found in the agricultural or in the industrial gypsum, and typically in the drier areas of Argentina, the properties are found that contain this material. It's similar to potassium. The soils in South America are deficient in some of the chemical compositions that the gypsum can fill. That's the sulfur and calcium, and it really adds a component, a soil improvement component to the soil. So the gypsum can increase the yields, crop yields, anywhere from 10 to 40% for the farmers.
Okay. So Centurion and Demetra are developing the Anna Sophia project. And you raised some money recently, which cover the cost of the maiden resource estimate you want to present shortly. Can you give us an idea of what you're aiming for in terms of grade and tonnage?
Yes, we did raise some. We were successful in raising about $700,000. Initially, we were looking to put together $350,000. The initial dollars raised will complete an exploration program that we started in the spring, and we will have an official resource estimate within the next probably 30 days or so, by early September certainly. Our targets are in the neighborhood of about 1 million tons of material that would grade 90% plus gypsum. And we think that we can be successful in that. And that will be the basis of moving forward on setting up a pilot plant, a processing plant that we intend to set up within a very short period of time.
So first the resource, then the pilot plant on the property. When would you expect to start processing with the help of that, and what kind of production volume are you expecting?
Well, because we've raised a little bit more money than we had initially set out to do, we can accelerate the program. We will continue to do some additional exploration on the property. To this date, we've really just explored and we've done work on about 10% of the property that is under the control of the Argentinian group and ourselves. But we will be able to accelerate a pilot plant setup. We anticipate that we'll have a crushing machine, which we have now secured on the property within the next 60 days. And this is capable, or the plant's capable of processing about 40,000 tons per year, with each ton selling for approximately $100 per ton. There are some pretty good margins. We estimate, based on some of our numbers and some of the artisanal miners in the area, that the margins can be as great as 70% on selling the product. So that would be our first phase, to work out all of the kinks and ensure that it is fiscally feasible. And that's our first stage pilot plant. Certainly with 1 million tons of material, would be able to produce 40,000 tons for quite a few years.
Interesting, but I also seem to remember that you have an offtake already secured, which would cover all that 40,000 tons per year.
Yes, that's correct. We do have an agreement with a Paraguayan distributor that distributes to many large farmers in not only in Paraguay, in the southern part of South America. And for 50,000 tons per year, we expect that as we grow, the pilot plant is the first stage. We intend to, once we've got that up and running, to bring on a second phase, which would dramatically increase production. And we expect that the Paraguayan group would expand their needs and the offtake agreement. There are other groups in Argentina and elsewhere in South America we are talking to that could also take on some of the product.
Well, when you say there's going to be a second bigger stage, and what kind of numbers are we talking here?
Well, we're a full-scale facility. We're looking at about 120,000 tons of capability. So with the two facilities operating, our goal is let's say by the end of next year, over the next 2 years anyway, to be processing at the rate of about 150,000 tons per year.
That's quite a growth. But to install that bigger plant, you'd have to finance it somehow. I mean, production cash flow on the pilot plant is just around the corner, as you said, so that should help you, right?
Yeah, certainly from cash flow perspective, we believe that we will certainly be positive cash flow very quickly. Some of it could be financed internally. I expect we will go to the markets for debt financing, possibly a combination of equity and debt, but most likely debt financing. We have talked with a few Argentinian banks as well as some Canadian banks and investment bankers. And it certainly seems that once we've got the pilot plant operating and working and can prove that we are making money, that the next round of financing should not be that difficult.
Okay. That 150,000 tons a year, that's a big number, but and you want to reach that in the next 2 years, let's say. What's after that? What are your long-term goals for the company or for that project, let's say?
Yeah, for a longer term, we intend to, and we are doing some due diligence on some other properties with the similar grades to what we've been able to tie up right now. We will expand that. We think that we can get to at least 500,000 tons per year in production. There seems to be a market that we can certainly take that. We would be very quickly the largest producer of gypsum material certainly in Argentina, probably in South America, very quickly. And there are, I mean, that's 500,000 is an awful lot from starting from zero. But we think that that we can get there fairly quickly and replicate the processing facility, the crusher, etc., that would be put onto the first property. There are also some other projects around, some small-scale producers that are within the region. We think we can consolidate and effectively do a roll-up of the industry.
Okay. Thank you, David. Sounds pretty interesting. I'm looking forward to talking to you once you have reached the next milestone. Thank you.
Great. Thanks very much, Bjorn.